Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Hari.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 One second, I'll fix it.
No way.
So Bhagavad Gita, I'm going to read from Bhagavad Gita, but basically I'm reading from the purport based on Srila Prabhupada's explanation of the verse. I'm actually going to take two verses, but I'm going to go in reverse order. I'm going to start with number 22. I've actually talked on these on Friday, but there's so much in them that I couldn't leave them alone. Come back on them again to get even more. Some of you might know this verse. It's 9:22. Does anyone know that verse?
9:22.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. Okay, I'll say it, and you can join in if you know. Ananyas chantayanto mam ye jana paripasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshema vahamyaham. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana parupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshema vahamyaham. I won't go to the word for this. Very good explanations in those. Okay, the translation. Is everybody listening? But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack, and I preserve what they have. And purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day. Being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship, and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potencies, which make the devotee perfect in self-realization, so that his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a devotee undoubtedly approaches the Lord without difficulty. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Shema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga, and when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to a miserable conditioned life. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, To them I carry what they lack, and I preserve what they have. And there's the first line again of the purport. One who's unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot think of Krishna, cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day, being engaged in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship, and surrendering fully to the Lord. Okay, so that's the class, and we're finished now. We can all go home. I'm joking. So, first of all, does anyone recognize themselves in that there? Does anyone recognize themselves in what I just spoke there?
Means?
I'm still kind of joking a bit, because what's been described here is the topmost yoga system. You know, it's like the very ultimate. You know, and meditating 24 hours a day on God. You know, that's even when you're sleeping. Meditating on God. And most people hear that, they think, when am I going to get there? Is that a possibility? Is that ever going to happen? What can I do in my current situation? But the first thing is that we have to want to be in that situation. You know, that's really the first thing. To want to be in that situation. You know, because in general, we have a lot of other wants, don't we? We have a lot of other things that we kind of want. I want to get
Like playing football outside?
yes, some good football outside, and my football team wins the match, and my cricket team wins the match, and you know, these are certain things that we want. And so these kind of wants, what happens is that they get in the way of this wanting to think of Krishna all the time. They actually get in the way. And this world is a place for people who want other things besides wanting Krishna 24 hours a day. You know, so this is our place. But the amazing thing, though, is that we actually don't want these things. Well, you know, deep down, we don't want these things. Deep down, we actually want Krishna 24 hours a day. And the reason for that is that we are part of God. We're part of God. We're not God, but we're part of God. So, our what's called a constitutional position is to be in relation with God. Now, Srila Prabhupada one time, he was given a talk, and it was in Honolulu in Hawaii, and he was kind of challenging his devotees that were with him to kind of ask questions and so on. And one devotee said to him, he said that, Srila Prabhupada, you know, you only say that we need the Guru, but what about inside ourselves? Do we not hear deep down inside ourselves what should and shouldn't be done? And Srila Prabhupada was like fire. You know, he was very annoyed with the person for asking the question. And I could ask if anybody knows the reason why was Srila Prabhupada. That seems like a reasonable question, isn't it? You know, because there's the voice within and so on. And I don't know if anybody's going to venture the answer, but okay, yeah, you know, it's good answer.
Maybe Srila Prabhupada don't. Maybe like what question he's saying, maybe it doesn't make sense to him.
Yeah, that's reasonable, because Srila Prabhupada knew the person who was asking the question as well. But the reason is that for someone to hear what God is telling him all the time. He has to be in this sort of state, where he's 24 hours a day meditating Krishna. Not that he's meditating on the stock exchange, the football results, anyway, I won't get into all the different things, and that is where the next stage comes in, and we talked about it there. If we're not on that platform, and Prabhupada kind of gave us a hint of how to start to get onto that platform. Hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers. But let's start though with this hearing and chanting. Now we were hearing that just there now, and we were chanting. So the power of that hearing and chanting is such that it actually goes very deep into the psyche, very deep into our consciousness, and so deep, in fact, that it penetrates what's called the chitta, or the chitta is the element which records all our previous samskaras, all our previous these samskaras are impressions from many, many lifetimes, from millions of lifetimes. And these could be traumatic, very traumatic ones. They could be very, very deeply down rooted inside us. We're not able to see them because they're so deep down, we're not even conscious of them. They often talk about, I know if anyone's into psychology, they often talk about the unconscious, that you're ruled by your unconscious, you don't even know. But you do something and you don't know why you're always doing it, but the chitta is where that's recorded, and it is the result of many, many impressions from the past. Now, what to speak of even in this lifetime, it's many, many lifetimes. That's how deep it is. And even our current situation now is based on the full product of all those impressions. So where we're at now is based on where we have been previously, and therefore we have a desire then to, if we stay in the lower consciousness, what we do is we create future impressions to entangle us further in the future. That's what spiritual life is like. That's what material life is like. That we do. Unless we're actually fully trained, we won't stop that. And even though people may want things, and I want to do this, I want to be this, I want to try to do this, but because they're very deeply held, very deeply, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Daivi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Mayadam Jarachya. This divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. Very difficult. We're almost like, stuck. It's like when you get on a plane, if you're going to New York, for instance, from Dublin to New York, you get on the plane. You can't halfway through say, oh, I think I'll go the other way. I don't really like going this way. I think I'll go in the opposite direction. No, we can't. We're stuck on the plane until we get to New York. So in that sense, it's very, very strongly attached. But that is where the chanting and the hearing comes in, because what that is doing, it's going really, really deep into our psyche, and what it is doing is it removes a lot of that entanglement that's there. So that's why Krishna consciousness, it's a spiritual science, it's a scientific process. You will find it in other bona fide religious systems as well, whether it be Christianity, Islam. I've never studied it, I'm sorry, but it's there. Probably we'll talk about Muhammad and stuff like that. I don't know, but it's very in all bona fide systems, it's very deeply there. That this science is there by how you can become good. I mean, we all know that. I'm sure all of you know good Christians, good Muslims, good Hindus, and whatever. It's they are trying to. They're able to go deeper and actually purify their existence. This is the way it is, So, I want to go on to another verse now. There's another verse which we because I'm doing it for a certain reason, but I want you to listen very deeply to this other verse. It's the verse before it. I don't have the Sanskrit on it. I won't read the Sanskrit on it, but I'll read the English. So is everybody listening very deeply? Please listen if you can. When they have enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this material planet again. Those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. Okay. Do you want me to read it again?
Yep.
Okay. Read it again, because I'm going to ask somebody to sort of respond to me what's actually been said here. Okay?
What's the verses for it?
It's 921. 921 is the one before you. When they have enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. Okay, one quick question is, who's been talked about here? It says, when they, who's the they?
Devotees. We.
Well, yeah, it is actually. But it's a specific. It's even more so. It's in one sense. It's not exactly devotees, because devotees are avoiding this particular activity. They're avoiding this. But it says that when they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure. So it's people who are looking after. What are they looking for? Sense enjoyment. They're looking for sense pleasure, right? So therefore, what is the purpose of these people? What do they want in this world?
Enjoyment.
They want enjoyment, exactly. Yeah. They want to enjoy themselves in this world. What's wrong with enjoying? Is that not a good thing? Should we not try to enjoy ourselves? Does anyone else answer that? Should we not try to enjoy ourselves? Pardon? Everybody does, yeah. So should we want enjoyment?
No.
Why? The answer is no. Why?
Because this world is Dakala, so this world is always miserable, not enjoyable.
This is it. She was using the Sanskrit as well. Dakali and the Sasvatam. Yes.
Because we only achieve repeated birth and death.
Yeah, if you look at the verse, it says you come back again. Because that's the nature. If you try to enjoy your senses in this world, you might get some pleasure, but then you use it up. And then you have to come back again. You know.
Because attachment leads to suffering.
Yes. This kind of attachment leads to suffering. Yeah, I mean it's tragic almost, you know. Because we're all very attached, you know. We're attached to things. But spiritual science gives us the ability to become detached. And it is, I'm not saying it is automatic, but when we hear Bhagavad Gita in specific, you know, when we hear Bhagavad Gita over and over and over again, I was asking the devotee recently, many times have you read Bhagavad Gita? He says, I've read it at least 50 times. Has anybody here have read Bhagavad Gita 50 times? Jai, Haribol! That's wonderful. Because that is what Bhagavad Gita is meant for. To read it every single day. Because every day, and I'm just taking 2 verses here, right? And 2 of those verses are so powerful. One of them tells about what we should be doing, and the other one tells us what we should be avoiding, you know, which is heavenly sense pleasure and wanting it. So, we are attached to this material world, but when we're attached to the material world, who is in the center?
Krishna.
Yeah, that's the answer to the next question. But when we're attached to the material world, who is in the center?
Maya.
False ego.
Ourself.
We, yes, our false ego, exactly. We are in the center. So you have a this picture of your world. Everybody, just for a minute, close your eyes. Just close your eyes for a second. Now, just think of a few things that are going on in your life, right? Just if you can, just for think of 2 things that are going on in your life at the moment. I'll think of 2 things that are going on in my life as well. Oh. Somebody's putting a garland on me. Hi, Krishna. In general, what we do is we think about ourselves, and then there's another if we're lucky, we think of God as well. We think of Krishna. We think that there is God there. We think of other things, me in relation to another person or another person or whatever. But actually, what we're trying to do in spiritual life is to replace me being in the center as being, because otherwise I'm the most important person, and everybody thinks like that. Everybody thinks that there's. Do you ever come across a person, sometimes like this myself, that they're always talking about themselves, and they don't talk about them. So what are you doing? They're just I'm sure we've all done that. We've all done that, and we've all experienced that. But that's the way in which we are like that. That's a symptom of us, thinking ourselves in the center. But a person who who has God in the center, he's thinking, how can I please God? What can I do to serve God? What is my next thing? It's very difficult in the world to do that because we all have occupations. We're trying to build a house. We're trying to, live in the world. So it's not easy. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. But Krishna consciousness is a science, and it gives us the ability not to get entangled. Because when we're doing things in this world that are to do with our normal everyday thing, problem is we get attached to them, and then we spend 24 hours a day. Remember that word, 24 hours a day? We spend 24 hours a day trying to do all these things. Trying to pay the electricity bill, this bill, that bill, and maybe I'll get this job, and I'll probably get the PhD, and then I'll get a better job. And, we're all the time about in this world. This world is very temporary. It's a very temporary place. But that's where the problem lies, is that we're very attached to being here, and we think that we have to do things here. But Bhagavad Gita is telling us, and is almost warning us, you have to think about, the spiritual dimension, is the spiritual world, because that's where we are. That's who we are. We're spiritual by nature. Okay, I'll stop there. Is there any questions? Anyone likes to ask anything? I'll just take one question. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just have a question. Don't you think that fulfilling your daily responsibilities, like as a mother, as a wife, or as a husband, or anyone in this world, is also equivalent to worshipping God, because that is why He has sent us to this world, right? And we are bound to fulfill all those requirements. If we don't do that, the life will become much more difficult for us, right? Let's say if I'm doing something, like I'm cooking or something, I'm chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna all the time.
Okay, well that's the difference there.
There is a difference, but do you really think that I will have 2 or 3 hours time to just sit alone at a place and chant at a quiet place like Hare Krishna, knowing the fact that I have a small child with me, I have to cook for my family, I have to do a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
So I personally feel that while doing all these things, if I'm chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, that is also equivalent to sitting at a quiet place and taking a seat. That's my personal opinion.
Okay.
I can be wrong also.
No, it actually, the whole Vedic society was set up in a certain way that 0 to 25 years old, we would, for instance, brahmacharya, or we would study in the ashram. And that is so that we can actually get focused on spiritual life. 25 to 50, is Vanaprast, or sorry, is Grihastha. And that's the time when that type of duty starts to take hold.
Yeah.
50 to 75 is Vanaprast, when you start to get rid of that, well, not when you get rid of it, but when you move on to another stage, and then sannyas is the last stage of life.
Yeah.
That's the ideal. It's Daiva Vanashram. And but what happens? What you're saying is totally correct. But what happens is that we get so absorbed in the current day-to-day thing that we forget about everything else. And we think about, I want to get a job, I want my children to get a good job. And this is okay, this is fine in a certain level. But we actually forget that it's only here temporary. It's like this, it's like that. And that's the nature of the material world in which we're living in, especially in Kali Yuga. And that's why there is all these different, warnings there along the way. Now, what you're saying is correct because it depends on consciousness, the consciousness in which you do the thing. So the whole idea of spiritual life is to try to develop your consciousness to do everything in the service of God. That's so if you can do that, then everything that you're doing is spiritual, becomes spiritualized. And it is not easy. I mean, I know my granddaughter now and my daughter-in-law, they she had such a difficult time even just up to the time when she was giving birth and everything, and then afterwards, trying to sleep, and my son was trying to come to work and all of that. So these things they all kick in, they're all there, but they're there, and it is like as a society, what we're meant to do, I could even say what ISKCON is meant to do, is meant to provide a kind of a pattern or a template in which you can actually, in which we can see the difficulties that are involved, but which we can mitigate them. And the main thing, which is hearing and chanting. Now, I know if your child is crying, it's very hard to go and start to. Sorry, I'm meditating, because that can become worse. It can be totally counterproductive on the child, and that is also your duty, is to bring a Krishna conscious child into the world. I mean, if you examine the Vedic society, it is so profound and so deep. Like I was talking about samskaras and all those things. I mean, they had all these rituals, and they're not just rituals. They're meant for begetting a child, even, for bringing a child into the world. It was a whole science, It's an incredible science in which it's done. The problem is that it's difficult for us to follow it as much in Kali Yuga, but we should be always endeavoring. We should be always endeavoring to do this in the best possible way. So, but what I'm doing here today, it being more in the Vanaprastha stage, is that I'm kind of, and this is my duty as well, is to warn about not getting too entangled in that situation, and to do it in the best possible, in a very positive way, and that's the. There's always that danger. You will see it in the Bhagavatam. There's the vairagyam, there's the renunciation, and then there's the bhoga. That means the enjoyment, or the activity. Those two things are always in a balance. But generally, people balance in the wrong way. But that's why also the Vedic society would have a lot of respect for elders as such. Do you know what I mean? And that's why that the information is coming down. And as such, then the respect is for the spiritual guides. And that's why it's Prabhupada wanted to introduce into the Western world Brahminical culture. Not in the kind of the old-fashioned caste system or anything like that, but because the world needs a head to know how to act. Because you need a head, you need protection, you need the arms, you need the administration, you need the cultivators, the land cultivators, you need business, you need that things, and you need workers. So all of those. They all work together in the Varnashram system, and they all have one thing in common, is that they're doing it to please God. You know. So in that sense, that in the Varnashram system, when everybody understands that point, and we're not doing it for ourselves, that God is in the center, and we're all working to please God, then everybody benefits in all the situations that they're in. The baby benefits, the mother benefits, the worker benefits, the administrator benefits, everybody, if they have that goal in mind. And so the goal of Bhagavad Gita is to really to place that as that, and that's what Prabhupada is saying, that thing. Those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack. In other words, we're never ever going to be always, doing it properly. But Krishna says, I carry what you lack, and I preserve what you have. So all the things that you've done, say in the morning time, for instance, if you had time to chant or to read a little bit, then and then later in the day, then comes in on top of you. This happens, and this phone call, and he's hurt his leg, and this whatever. But Krishna preserves, the sanctity of what you've done already. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the most understanding person ever, who's God. He's the most understanding. He knows exactly what we go through. But one other aspect of the Krishna consciousness. Thank you so much for that question. I hope that's answers it a little bit. I just want to make one other point on it. Another point, a corollary point, and that is that some people sometimes say, "Why do you worship? Why do you just worship Krishna? Why don't you worship so all these other aspects of divinity?" And because Krishna actually says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharma Parityajam, give up all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. Because we want to experience God in His most beautiful and His most merciful and His most loving aspect. In certain religious systems, they kind of worship God as the on high, as being, sometimes you can't even describe Him, or you can't say His name, or they have certain restrictions from loving God, or for loving God. In one sense, it's correct, because God is a very sacred, is very sacred, very, very special, very powerful, and that's why we're saying at the beginning that because we have all these kind of anarthas, these are unwanted things, it's very difficult for us to see God, or to hear God, or to be with God. It's difficult because we've got all these different things that we have, all these desires and wants and things like that. So we're not even thinking of God. That's the difficulty. But for us to experience God in His most beautiful, the most merciful, and His most loving form, that is what Bhagavad Gita is explaining. And the next phase is the Srimad Bhagavatam, where the Srimad Bhagavatam is 12 cantos. Everybody knows Srimad Bhagavatam, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam is 12 cantos, and it culminates though in the 10th canto, which is a description of Krishna and Krishna's pastimes. And so it takes all of us to go through all those 9 cantos. There's 18,000 verses, especially between looking after your child and joking a little bit, but hearing, just by hearing, that is, we get the benefit. All of us hearing together, everybody is benefiting. That's the power. It's like, it's so wonderful that Krishna spreads like that, very, very powerfully, and He's most loving, in the most loving aspect, to such a degree that we guarantee at the end of it all, we can speak to God face to face. That God is actually in our lives, that we can actually talk to Him face to face. Isn't that right?
Yes, can I say a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just take a question. Yeah.
You know Bhagavan?
Bhagavan, yes.
Yeah. And the full meaning of Bhagavan, one who possesses opulence.
Yes.
What does one who possesses opulence even mean? Like,
what is going to possess opulence?
Well, there's 6 opulences. This is from Parasharamuni. There's 6 opulences, main opulences, and that's very attractive. And an opulence is something which is very attractive. And the first one is wealth. Everybody is, people who are wealthy, we kind of say, oh, that person. You hear about them in the newspapers, Rockefellers or Bill Gates or whatever. We hear about these very, very wealthy. So in that sense, there's all these news cameras on them. Everybody's interested. So wealth is an opulence, but God owns everything. He owns every atom, every body, every sinew in our bodies, everything there. He owns it. He owns the air that we're breathing. So that's an opulence. So God is all famous. That's another name for Krishna. In that sense, it's all fame. If somebody's famous, for instance, if I told you, and I can't remember, I know people generally like cricket or something. So if I can 10 Tendulkar, is it? Yeah. If I told everyone Sachin is coming into the room today, and he's going to come for the Bhagavad Gita class, I'd say that there'd be queues up down the stairs, They want them to autograph their Bhagavad Gita, So it's like, that's fame, the fame, everybody knows the person, but God is the most famous, renounced. That's something which we find that's a little bit more difficult to understand, but God is the most renounced. I could talk about some people who are renounced, but they're not very well known, I suppose. The most beautiful.
All beauty.
Pardon?
All beauty. That's
beauty. Yes, most beautiful. God is the most beautiful. I don't know the Bollywood movies so much, but usually there's the beautiful girl, and and everybody knows, and there's all these. I know you have all these magazines.
I could say
Hello magazine or something. I can't remember. There's all these magazines about beautiful ladies and so on. So, but God is the most beautiful. All beauty is coming from God. That's where it's all coming from.
I can say the way you sing this Bhagavan, you said all beauty, you said
So this is what opulences are like, and strength.
So
that's
these are
another
the
one.
6 attractive.
6 attractive, yes.
Yeah.
All strength. That's another opulence.
All
God.
power.
Power, yes. And what's the last one? What?
Renunciation.
I said renunciation.
Oh.
That's it. Power, strength. Knowledge. Yes. See,
He knows every question about maths.
So knowledge. So Einstein. Everybody's heard of Einstein, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Bhagavan is more Bhagavan is more better
Krishna
than
has
Einstein.
made all the brains. He's made Einstein's brain. So that sense, Krishna is all these things. So that's another way in which we can see God. He's in everything. But what we want to see the most here is that Krishna is the most loving. He's the most loving example of God. Would everybody does anybody here love someone?
I love my mom.
Yes, very good. He loves his mom. So we all love people, isn't it? We all love someone, and we all want to be loved by somebody as well. It's something which is it's such an attractive thing, because you kind of give yourself, to this person, and it's a very loving thing. So that's also coming from God, and if we can love God, then we can love everybody. That's where real peace in the world comes from, actually. Is this actual loving of God, love God properly? Then we're able to, because what it does is it ignites, loving God ignites the love that's in our heart. It ignites that and sets it ablaze, and then we have no problem loving everybody. We're not saints straight away, but it takes a little bit of time. But definitely that love is there, and that's coming from God as well. But this is what I'm saying, is that in that relationship with God is where that really ignites. That's where it comes from, And in that sense, everything else that we're doing, even in this world, will be done in a loving spirit. Whatever we are in the Varnashram situation, whether we're in whatever we're doing, whether we're is. We'll be working. Krishna says, "Yagyartat karma no nyata lokayam karma bandhana." Work done as a sacrifice for Krishna has to be performed. Otherwise, and listen to this, otherwise work causes
bondage in this material world.
bondage in this material world. And that's what I was talking about earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We're bound by our activities. Whatever we do, we're bound. So Bhagavad Gita is really hitting this point home. So if we can learn to love God in this world, then whatever activities we're doing, that love will be pervasive in those activities. And then all our activities will be liberating. They actually will be liberating. They're actually opposite. Instead of being bound, whatever we're doing will be creating future pathways back to the spiritual world. We won't be here anymore. We'll give up Vishya Vanavartantanya Harashatena. We'll be giving up the lower tastes because our lower tastes are here in this world. But we'll be developing higher taste to go back to the spiritual dimension, which is exactly where we want to go. Because that's the real position of freedom. It's the position of knowledge, strength, wealth, all of these things. They're all there. We'll be experiencing that in its fullest in relationship with the Supreme. So that's they're the two verses. Any other questions? Yes.
Yes.
From 9.22, it said that Krishna will preserve whatever you have and he will take away whatever you don't have. So can you please explain a bit more about it?
To them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. And this is quite interesting because there's certain things we can and can't do be based on our karma. Like I'm not going to go into a beauty contest, for instance. They wouldn't let me pass the door. I mean, because of our conditioning. Like for instance, I wouldn't. Maybe somebody is not a great musician, and they've tried for 50 years to be a musician, and they don't really. It's not really their thing. But it doesn't matter because that's maybe something that you lack. But I often find that some people who don't even sing very well, most devotionally, it's coming from their heart. Sometimes when we do this chanting, street chanting, and sometimes somebody's not chanting very melodiously, and initially I get a little bit annoyed, but then I see them and I can see the determination, how the feeling that they're putting into what they're doing. So Krishna, in that sense, he'll carry what we lack, and he'll preserve what we have. Preserving what we have means that, as I explained earlier, that sometimes we have done some amazing, we've done some spiritual activity, and we may fall a little bit aside and not be very conscious in how we're acting. But still, Krishna knows our intention, even if we don't act really 100%. Even if we don't do something really, really well, Krishna will still say, "Okay, it's okay. I know what you like." So he'll carry you in those situations. He will, if we're in danger, and this is something which happens quite a lot because, there's everyone knows about temptation. Sometimes we're tempted to do things which are not actually going to be beneficial for us in the long run. We're going to do something which is going to entangle us further. And well, in those situations, then sometimes Krishna can come along and can help us. He can help us and he can guide us, because Krishna is there within us. And he can guide us not to do something which is going to be entangling. But the way in which we can guarantee that is that if we scrupulously study whenever we do get time. Because part of the Bhagavad Gita is about knowing what will entangle us, what will set us free, and it's activities in the modes of nature. In the modes of nature, if we do something which we know is good for us, that's the mode of goodness. And if we do something which is going to be entangling, that's in the mode of passion or in the mode of ignorance. So we need to get the vision to know what to do. We need to develop that vision. And we do that specifically, constantly, by hearing and chanting and hearing and chanting and hearing and chanting. That will automatically, because what that does is it burns the reactions of our previous activities, it burns our bad karma, it burns our tendency to commit mistakes. It doesn't just burn our karma. Everyone, this is the last point I'll make here, but it's a very, very important point. Why spiritual life is so important, and why this is a spiritual science. It's not some belief system. It's a spiritual science of how to become disentangled from matter and to become attached to spirit. And that is that when we do some things, sometimes good, we think that by doing this, it's called atonement. Does anybody know what? I don't know the Sanskrit word of it, but atonement. Atonement means it's in the Christian terminology. If you do something wrong, then you say, "Okay, I confess. I'm sorry I did that." Praschita. Very good. Very good. That's what it is. Praschita. You do something which tries to atone for something that you've done bad, right? But the problem with that is that you still have the tendency to do that based on your karma. You still have the tendency to go back and again. Has anyone ever experienced that? You say, I don't want to do this, and then the next minute you're doing it. If you have people all over the world are plagued by addictions. You know, they're plagued by addiction. I was on the street yesterday, and there was a girl, she was a 46-year-old lady, right? She was 46-year-old. She was living in a tent. She spent the 4 hours on the street begging. She was moved on by police regularly, and she showed me what she had in her hand. Her hand was frozen almost. She had €4, you know, and she says, "And I need €19 for a place to stay tonight," you know. So, and because of some addiction she had, you know, because she was addicted to something, she was very, very. She was actually quite noble. I felt she was a very noble person in the way that she was approaching me in the street at that time. And she wasn't asking me. She said, "No, I'm not asking you for anything." She said, I just wanted to tell you. She said, "I was a midwife for 12 years. I had a good job, but I lost my child last year, as he was 6 years old, and my husband left me before that. You know? So she went on really, really difficult times, but she had a certain addiction, so it was very difficult for her to try. But she wanted not to be like that in that sense. But the point being is, to a certain degree, we all have things like that. We all like to improve our lives, but then we kind of go back. That is because that the tendency to do that is still there. But the power of bhakti, of devotional service, is such that it uproots, it actually takes out that desire again, you know. It actually gets rid of that desire. But it only does that if we do it in a very, very scientific way, very, very, if we're sincere, if we're really sincere and serious to want to do it, you know. It's something that you can't buy sincerity, you know. You have to kind of earn sincerity. You know, you have to constantly examine your motivation in why you're doing something. Why am I doing this? Because we're very prone to be selfish. You know, we're very prone to do things just for our own ego. But spiritual life is so powerful. I met someone else on the street the other day, and he's studying to be a psychologist and a psychotherapist. And I said, "This is the book for you." I gave him Bhagavad Gita, you know, and he's an interesting name. His name is Victor. So I said, "You'll be victorious if you read this book." And but he was very open for it. It was good, and because Krishna is telling this to Arjuna, this message. He's the supreme psychologist. If you study his words very carefully, you will all of these things from your heart. Much more so than what a lot of the psychologists will tell you to do. They say some things like, I know I won't get into non-psychologists or psychologists, but they don't have the knowledge. I mean, in one sense they have some knowledge. I'm not, some of it is very useful in certain circumstances. But the ultimate knowledge is where we can get rid of the desire to repeat that activity over again. And as I said, if we're very astute, very studious, if we study Bhagavad Gita very thoroughly, we will get that knowledge how to do that. And that knowledge comes from God. It's coming from God. It's not our ability to get that knowledge. That's another important point. It's not we're helpless. We're absolutely have no hope. We're no hopers. We left the spiritual world to come here to enjoy separately. So we're real criminals, We're the criminals in this universe, and this system, I probably people don't want to hear that, do they? But that's what the thing says. You have to take it humbly, take it on the chin. But we need to take this information very, very seriously, so that we can actually rid ourselves of this material entanglement. So, Hare Krishna. Srila Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, we have a book marathon coming up, and we have next week is a special date. It's an Ekadashi. It's Mokshada Ekadashi, right? But it's also another very special date. It is the Gita Jayanti. Gita Jayanti Day. This is the Gita Jayanti. So I was talking about the Gita today, wasn't I? I was doing my bit for the Gita. As a yatra, like worldwide, worldwide, the whole of the ISKCON movement is vowed to give out nearly 5 million Bhagavad Gitas in the next 4 weeks. And as the contribution from Ireland, we have decided to give out. We had pledged to give out 1,600 Bhagavad Gitas. But it will take more than Haribol to give out those 1,600. I was out on the street today, and guess how many I gave out?
100?
1. And I was out for well over an hour. And I was out yesterday, and I gave out
20.
1. So that's 2 out of 1,600.
15.
So what percentage is that? Any mathematicians in the audience? Anyway, it's less than 1%. So, but if we get 100 people to give, is it?
It's more than 1%.
Is it more than 1?
So less than
No,
1% would be 16.
I think
because it's 16
yeah, I
is
think
1%.
20 is 20 would be okay.
0.2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 0.2. That sounds right. So I want to get up to 20. But yeah, we're having this sponsorship. We got these new kits in. They're €8 each. We would like devotees to sponsor them, and we'd like also devotees to give them out to their friends and workmates and colleagues, door to door, whatever way you can, because it's nice. It's really great to sponsor them because I got Lakshmi for the ones that I gave out, but any Lakshmi that we get from the ones we give out, that goes towards the new project, the new temple project. Which, just a quick announcement on that, next week I'm told the contracts will be arriving next week. So I was told that last week and this week, but I'm told that early this week they're coming.
Yeah.
So then we're going to be signing them on a very auspicious day as well. But any Lakshmi that comes in that's above and beyond what the sponsorship is, that will go towards that project, because I think I told everyone last week or the week before last that we decided we were able to avail of another 1.5 acres, and it cost an extra 25,000 euros. But it was brilliant. There's a little bit of river going through as well, which is very auspicious actually to have a river going. So we have that as well. And we've already collected 12,500 of that, so we're getting close, But we're at the moment we're starting to do the architectural drawings. We're starting to get into that stage as well. So now the architect has to be paid as well, and then there's other things that have to be paid. There has to be surveys done and all of that thing, because this is the way these things go. But anything that comes from the Bhagavad Gita that's above the cost will actually go towards that project, and that will be very, very, very helpful. So that's our goal as a yatra between now and the end of the 25th of December. I think maybe a little bit beyond 24th, but we might go a little bit longer. Is to give out all these Bhagavad Gitas, but they cost to print €8 each. So whatever anyone can do to sponsor some, we're going to have that. We should really do it now, but I'm not going to take up any more time. Or actually, is there anybody here who can sponsor some Bhagavad Gitas? Maybe 5 Bhagavad Gitas or 10 Bhagavad Gitas.
Yeah.
Did I hear a yes?
You can do that.
Okay, great. You could do 10, is it?
10.
10. Haribol, Jai, Hare Krishna. I don't know if somebody could. Oh yeah, I'll be downstairs afterwards and I can show you. That's great. Anybody else? 10, 5. Haribol, 15. Now what percentage is that? 15 of 1600. We're nearly 1% there. Yes. Anybody else? Any hands? Oh, look at this. 50. He's a pure devotee, this boy. He's doing very well with this boy. He wants to give out 50. And is anybody here also being able to distribute Bhagavad Gitas? To their friends and so on. Please. Anyway, that's 15 so far. 10, okay, brilliant. That's 25 Bhagavad Gitas already. Very, very good. Hare Krishna. Okay, I'll hold out for one more. Does one more person want to give out, to donate? Anybody else? The crowd is getting restless. Any more? We've got 25 Bhagavad Gitas already out of 1600.
Not after 50.
What?
Not after 50.
Oh, up to 50 as well. Mommy, I hope you're very wealthy there. That cost 400. Okay, but I'll be downstairs afterwards and I have the Bhagavad Gitas there if anyone wants to distribute. Is that okay? Okay, great. Okay, but now we have 2 Bhagavad Gitas that are going to be raffled. And the Lakshmi from this goes towards the new project as well. So big round of applause for Ankota Babu.
This is for 4. Can you ask? दीदी के लिए ले लो, जीजा के लिए ले लो.
Hare Krishna, can you all hear me? Manipur is taking a huge task on him. Prabhuji, Maharji, stop talking. I said that Manu Prabhu is taking a huge responsibility or task in trying to build a new temple in Fingal County. My Guru Maharaj is Bhakti Vikasa Swami. He completed his temple in Salem. His main city is in Salem. He completed building the temple there after 15 years and it only completed in April. So Manu Prabhu, you're looking at something like maybe 10 years, 5, 10 years. It's a huge task. So we want to thank you for the fact that you are taking this responsibility and standing in for all of us. So please help, try to help. After all, it's money. We can't take it with us. I'll quickly tell you a little story of a man who came to my clinic. He's a very, very wealthy man. I examined him and checked him out thoroughly. And the one test I had to do was an MRI scan. First thing he said to me, this is 16 years ago. First thing he said to me, how much does it cost? Now remember, he's a wealthy man. How much does it cost? I said 240 euros then, but now it's 350. Okay? He said, I don't think I'll want to have a test done. I said, why? He didn't give me the answer. He couldn't pay 240 euros. I said, tell you what, I'll give you my notes. You can take it to a friend of mine, another consultant. But to go to him, it'll cost you 200 euro. This is only another 40 more, and the whole job will be complete. It'll tell me whether you're okay or not okay. But he still didn't want to budge. I tried to convince him that please do this. He still didn't. What do you think I said to him at the end, before he was leaving? Can anybody guess what I said to him? No? I said, don't forget to buy a shroud. Now Monica will explain to you what a shroud is. What a shroud is.
That's for your deathbed.
It's a large coat with many pockets.
Oh, okay.
Large coat. You can see the implication? Large coat with many pockets. What am I telling him?
Take your money after death.
Exactly. Take your money with you in the grave. Money is just money. But he still didn't budge. So I let him go. And he never came back to me. One way I was sorry that I didn't come back. I wanted to complete the thing. Okay? So that's my Guru Maharaj Bhakti Vikasha Swami. They completed the one after 15 years. The huge temple. Maybe one man would go someday and have a look at the beauty. No nails, no cement. It's built of stone only. No nails, no cement. That means they cut the stone in such a way that they interlocked. Okay? But anyway, it's complete. I've been there once and spent a whole week there. And the thing about it is that you have cold showers. You wash your clothes in cold water. How many of you been to Salem? How many of you come from Salem? Yeah. Have you been to a temple?
No.
Now, you don't pay to stay. It's free. But at the end of the 1 week or so, we went for 1 week. Gary and myself. You just give it a donation. No matter what the donation was, you just give a donation. And we kind of worked it out in such a way that if we're paying, in other places they do charge, Mayapur and the rest. And we kind of summed it out and we gave a large sum of money. Right? And I gave the donation as well. So now, coming back to the two questions. It's based on Shiva. Okay? The question is based on Shiva. Okay, I'll take the first story first. Draupadi in her previous life asked Lord Shiva for a husband who had 5 different qualities. Can you name the qualities? You can guess, it's quite easy. It's not difficult. Yes?
Strength.
Who said strength?
She said
Strength, okay. But can you name all 5 to win the Bhagavad Gita?
smart, strength, smart focus.
Sorry, I must take you all one by one. Otherwise there will be a confusion. If you can mention 3 of the 5, you will get the Bhagavad Gita. Because I know the 5 is to get all 5. Can you mention 3 of them? Or all of them?
Money, good looking, strength, focus, and ethical.
Yes. Please give the Bhagavad Gita. But it is something, I'll go with the whole thing again. is somebody who has righteousness, somebody who has strength, which you said, somebody with beauty, okay, beauty, and the other one was wisdom, and there's one more as well, wisdom and I'll have to refer to my little notes. You should, there's the fifth one. Can you mention that fifth one?
Sundata, Sahanshilta, then the knowledge, and the last one I can't remember. You just said that.
Tolerance, right?
Tolerance, yeah, Sahanshilta.
And we said righteousness, right?
Tolerance.
We said strength, and we said
Focus.
somebody who is very good in defending, like in archery, okay? And the other one is with, the last one is beauty, not last, second last one, and then wisdom. These are the 5 qualities she wanted, and asked Shiva, I want a husband with these 5 qualities. Shiva said, that's impossible. But in the next bed, what happened? Can anybody explain what happened in her next bed as Draupadi?
5 husbands.
Yes.
She had 5 husbands.
Yes, tell me about it.
The name of the husbands?
Yes, the name is the husband.
Yudhishthir, Bhish,
Bhishma,
Arjun, Nakul, Sahdev.
Nakul Sahdev.
Now take each of the names
Okay.
and apply it to the 5 qualities she needed them to have. You just mentioned it.
Was having
You just
wisdom.
mentioned it. Yeah.
Yudhishthira, wisdom. Arjun was beauty.
Arjun was archery.
Archery, yeah.
Bhim was strength.
Yes.
And Nakul was righteousness.
Righteousness.
Yeah, beauty and wisdom. Okay? Okay. Can you hand the book to him? Because he has one book, Krishna. I only wanted 3 of the 5. So he's got like 4 of them. Oh, you have the book. Good. Oh, sorry. Second question now. Again, it's about Shiva. Okay? This is the Shiva card. And Shiva was living with Parvati. But all their servants leaned towards Shiva. And they kind of they ignored Parvati. And Parvati said, what's happening? So what did Parvati do to circumvent this event? Remember, all the staff were in favor of Shiva, 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 Shiva. And she was kind of left alone. What did she do?
She gave birth to Ganesha. She gave birth to Ganesha. She made out of mud Lord Ganesha by invoking her Yogmaya.
Very good. Out of the sandalwood paste and the turmeric paste, she created Lord Ganesha. Right? And what was the duty of Lord Ganesha?
To guard.
To protect.
Yeah, the
As a
guard.
gateway.
And what happened after that? One by one, put your hand up. Wait, I don't know who I'm going to give this book to. It's very confusing.
Have a book to let somebody else up.
Yes, yes.
So then Lord Shiva got really angry with Lord Ganesh, so then he cut off the head.
No. Just start from the beginning again. Ganesha made the guard at the gate from there. Tell me from there.
So then when Lord Shiva approached, Lord Ganesh told that you can't enter the Pitaka.
Exactly. You can't enter it. And he got a go ahead now.
So then Lord Shiva asked again and again and again, but Lord Ganesh still said no and no and no.
Yes.
Then after he got so angry with Lord Ganesh, so then he cut off Lord Ganesh's head. So then when Parvati Maya came back, she was so devastated to see that her son's head is cut off. So then she got really angry. So then Lord Shiva told someone to get a head for replacement. So then they got the elephant head. So then that's how.
Yeah, actually it was you're perfectly correct. Actually it was the first living entity that came across from the bend, along the bend. Happened to be an elephant. And that's why Lord Ganesha was given an elephant tail. If a fly came, a fly tail, or whatever, if it was a lion, it was a lion tail. Can you give us a cookbook? That's good. That's good. For the entire thing is good. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for being patient. And thank you for listening. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful questions. Hare Krishna. So we have few announcements. So first of all, we would like to thank today's sponsor, Gaurav Taparia Prabhu, for sponsoring today's feast by loudly chanting 3 times, Haribo! 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 We would also like to thank Grishma Mataji, Champa Mataji and other volunteers for making such delicious prasadam which we are going to relish after Aarti by 3 times loudly chanting Haribo! 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 And as Manu Prabhu already announced about next week program, so we are going to have program of Gita Jayanti next week. So we will be having some program on Sunday and some program on Monday. So that will be announced in the group soon. So now we would like to proceed further. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry. Hare Krishna.
मिनिमम ना अगर आप स्पॉन्सर करोगे तो मिनिमम
Because she should be a fine
फेस और बट नाम नहीं
भगवान की
Jai
बाबू कोटी चंद्रजिनी मदन उज्ज्वल अति बाबू कोटी चंद्रजिनी बाबू Krishna Krishna Hare Everyone can go down first and go with
Jai Om Vishnuvad Brahman Saparajati Acharya Stotra Santa Shishivad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Panduracharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Gauda Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Premsingha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jamuna Maya Ki Ganga Maya Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Yajna Ki Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Gita Jayanti Ki Gaur Premanande all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna, everyone can sit down for National
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya.